Hello campers, and welcome back to Shadow Camping Base Camp. Today I thought we'd start off by cooking something that we all know about. They're really good to start off before you go off into the woods or off on an expedition. They're really nice when you are in the woods or on an expedition, and it's not often that when you're in the woods or on an expedition you can find them. So I thought it'd be great to have a go at making them. What are we making? Sausage and egg muffins. Oh yes. Right, we've got the ingredients. I've got 2 muffins, 2 pieces of cheese. Now you can use nice cheese, but I actually quite like using these plastic slices and they last a lot longer. 2 eggs, and then the sausage meat. I bought some sausages from the butcher's yesterday. They're a pork and leek sausage, and I've taken the meat out of the skins, and I'm going to use that because it's already got all of the blends of herbs, spices and everything else, and I know I like the sausages. So it's a really good way forwards, which means that you don't have to have lots of little bits like garlic granules, garlic salt, onion powder, etc, etc. So first we have to make the sausage patty. So I've got the sausage meat, and the other thing that's handy when you're doing this is the cheese that you brought with you. If you unwrap it, and just stand it temporarily inside your bun. Now you'll notice I cut these buns before I came out and I put butter on them. It's a good idea to do it that way because you don't really want to be carting butter out into the woods, and the butter's really good for browning them and for toasting them. So you take the cheese out, put it in the bun, and now you've got 2 really nice pieces of non-stick stuff. A little bit of water is handy because the pork tends to stick to your hands. So if you just kind of put your hands in, then grab a handful. If you want a reasonable sized patty, make it into a ball, and if you put it in the cheese wrapper, you can kind of squash it down so that it makes the patty, and then it's just a case of fettling it around the outsides. So let's get it into a decent ball on your non-stick stuff. I'm just going to press it down so you get a sort of patty that you want. It's going to shrink a little bit, so just bear that in mind. And we don't want it too thick because it will take forever to cook. This one's just a little bit thick at the moment. That's it. Well, that's a good way of doing it. Just going to roll your fingers around the outsides. There we go. There's 2 sausage patties ready for the pot. Into the bin with that. Right, quick hand wipe, because you've been touching raw meat, so you have to wash your hands. Okay, so we've got our patties formed, so we'll put those over there. What we need, is a cooker. I'm going to use a cassette cooker that I showed you the other day, just because it's really nice and simple. So on the cassette cooker, trusty old Swedish frying pan. Now it's a good idea to have a couple of egg circles or egg rings, just because they make the egg the shape that you want it to be when you put it in the muffin rather than it hanging out, but it's not essential. The first thing I like to do is to toast the muffins, because we don't really want to fry the muffins, we just want to toast them so that it gets that butter that I told you about earlier, just gets working in the frying pan to toast them a little bit. So we get a bit of heat on. You don't want massive amounts of heat because you'll burn them. We just warm the frying pan up. You can see the smoke from where I've used it on the fire. Okay, so in with the muffins. We just let those toast for a couple of minutes till they get a bit of colour. We'll flip them over, and then we'll start with the sausages. It's a good idea just to hold the centre of the muffin down, because otherwise they cup up and then you just get it toasted around the outside. The other thing, you don't want to burn the butter. There's a nice bit of colour on those. Flip them over, let them do the same on the backs. And then we'll put those aside and we'll put the pork in the pan. Okay, those are toasted. Oh. Righty tighty. So we'll just put the cheese in those, because the cheese will start to melt, but don't put the lid on, because if you put the lid on you'll probably find that it's melted and stuck together. The other side we can warm up in a minute. Right, so next we've got a little bit of oil, and on with the main event. So again, a pan not too hot, so a medium-low heat, because we want to cook them all the way through, but we do want a nice crisp on the outside. These egg rings, they need to have a little bit of oil around them so that the egg doesn't stick. In practice they do stick a little bit, but like that. And if you're interested, these I bought off Amazon. They were about £8 for 4 of them with this little oiling brush. So those are all oiled up. They are non-stick anyway, but if you trust that, you probably end up with stuck eggs. Yeah, move those to the outside, because I don't want the outside prematurely crisping whilst the inside is still oinking. It's probably 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes aside, maybe 6, depending on how thick they are. You can see they're nice and gnarly on the outside. They're still out to the outside of the pan because I want that centre to be cooked well. You feel they're just got a bit of give in them. So I think in about 1 minute we're moving to the middle. And also, if we move the pan over here, we'll be getting ready for the right temperature for the eggs, because the eggs can go on now. A little bit of oil in the ring, probably not going to stay there, but that's good. We'll get that out later. Better shot. Now you see the eggs don't want to be boiling and spitting and what have you, because that's way too hot for an egg. You just incinerate it and make it all golden, brown and burnt. You can feel by the texture of these that these are almost done. So the eggs are now the thing that we're waiting for. So let me go back over a little bit. Got a bit of egg action going on now. You see it's bubbling, it's probably a bit too hot for it, so just move it slightly away from the heat again. Check these patties, make sure they're not burning. Just flip them over and reaffirm the crisp on them. Okay. Probably about now. We just flip these over again. Nice and hot. And we'll turn the cheese over on them. That'll get the muffin starting to warm and the cheese starting to melt. Okay, so that's the second egg freed from the ring. For about another 30 seconds and we can flip those over. And we might get a runny egg in our egg McMuffin, sausage and egg McMuffin, in our sausage and egg muffin. I keep doing that. Right, I'm just going to flip these muffins out because they are ready. And just bung those buns back in, just the muffins back in, just to warm up slightly. As we flip these eggs. Oh damn! Too violent with that one. Just broke, but this one's still alive. Okay, off with the heat and in with the sausage and egg. So, one egg, two eggs. Well, it's a shame that yolk broke, but gives us a bit of colour. And there we have Base Camp Sausage and Egg Muffins. Now this one's going to make a mess, which I like. So we'll just give it a little pierce first. Oh, look at that. We've still got a slightly runny egg. How's that for a sausage and egg muffin? Beautiful. As they say, proof of the pudding is in the eating. That's fantastic. And when you look at how much more there is in there than those well-known ones, and I'll tell you what, there's an awful lot more flavour too. No salt required. The only controversial ingredient that some people might add is some of that. But I'm not going to do that. I get too many adverse comments when I do. But this is delicious. And as you see, it was cooked in one frying pan. And you can do it on a campfire, you can do it on an alcohol burner, you can do it on a gas cooker, you can do it on a cassette cooker, you can do it indoors, you can do it anywhere. It's dead simple. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. Do stay with the channel because next time I'm doing Base Camp Chilli and it's an absolute belter. You'll really enjoy it. So I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.